8:41 now at iFiber One News Radio, and a good morning to you. I'm Jeff Slakey. Happy to have in studio this Monday and every Monday at this time the director of the Mason County Economic Development Council, Lynn Longan. Good morning, Lynn.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Good.
Good to see you. And you and the gang, Jennifer and Karin, making time at the North Mason Chamber booth yesterday for Oyster Fest.
We did. It was great fun.
I bet it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And the weather held for you there?
It did. I mean, I'm glad we were there yesterday.
Yes.
Saturday.
Yes, it definitely was a little wet on Saturday. We've got a couple things to talk about, Mason County Economic Development Council, but what does an event like this do to put a nice spotlight on the community, on the county? There's people from all over, even the country, that come here.
There are. So there are. They come from everywhere. Last year, I know I was on the bus going up, and I met a young couple that came all the way from Utah, Salt Lake City, Utah. And they came because they Googled it and they found it on the internet. And so.
you just don't know what can come from something like that. They go back and they go, hey, you got to check out.
No, there's some interesting numbers, and I wish I'd gotten them, but there's some really interesting numbers in how many CEOs, where they relocate their companies or their headquarters, are based on their trips. So they might go somewhere with their family, with their wife, and their wife likes the place, and so they end up moving headquarters to that area because they like it so much and want to live there.
Oh my gosh.
So
it is pretty impressive, and just countless thousands and thousands of people making their way up for Oyster Fest yesterday.
And it's really interesting how that happens because it's by mistake. It's nothing that you did.
Yeah.
It's not, it's just kind of like it just happens.
It just happens.
It's a fluke. But you have to have a nice community, right? You have to have something that draws them here.
What's going on at the EDC?
So all that leads to what I wanted to kind of talk about today. I thought we'd talk about business recruitment. So the EDC, we're putting together a plan for business recruitment for 2017. In this plan, we'll take what we learned from the industry roundtables and the industries that were identified as being important, and we'll do strategic targeted marketing for each of those.
So is this like a one sheet that you send out to companies, or do you then send this to some other?
It's a little more complicated than that. So each one of them, it's a lot more complicated actually. You have to identify what that industry is and what the needs are for that industry. What are the typical things that they're generally looking for, right?
Okay.
And you pull those together, and then you have to get creative. You have to figure out, because in Washington State, we can't lend public money to a private entity, lend or gift.
Okay.
It's against our state constitution. So in some states, like Texas, for example, they'll write them a check.
Oh.
Hey, if you come move your company here, here's $1 million or something.
That's quite an incentive for some places.
Yeah. I don't know that those are the companies that we want to recruit anyway.
Yeah.
So we have to get more creative in Washington State. But we can do that by looking at how can we help them with their markets? How can we help them with their customer base? What exactly is it that they need that we might have that's unique to that? So we can get that way. We can get real creative in how we do that.
One of the things I can think about Washington State in general is the closeness to the Asian markets and how easily accessible are some of the deep water ports are, but just ports in general that we could offer to some states or companies that are in landlocked states.
Right.
Make it harder.
We're very close to the Port of Tacoma and the Port of Grays Harbor.
Yeah.
The Port of Grays Harbor, which is closer to our Asian markets.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay.
Ports. So makes a big difference. So we need to market that, and we need to, sell that a little bit.
Sure.
Week before, I guess it was. So I was looking at a cross-laminate timber company that I wanted to try to recruit here. And so what I did was I went and I met with Dr. Apostle, because I knew that there's these bonds, and if these bonds pass, they're going to be building new schools. So I went to him and I said, hey, is there any possibility that if we were to recruit a cross-laminate timber company, that you could purchase the CLT and build the schools out of them? It's a long shot, but I thought this is the type of thing that we need to do.
And you need let's have these
conversations. is it a possibility? Because one of the things that I heard when Congressman Kilmer and Cantwell were here was if we could get some public buildings that were built out of them, then you have a market for the business.
Right.
And the costs are, tremendous to start up a company like that. So that's what I was thinking when I did that. So he brought me back to meet the following week to meet his architect, that's been making those artist renderings.
Yeah.
And we talked about it. And he says, a year or two ago, he would have said no. Now he's not saying no. I mean, obviously, you can't say, yes, we'll buy it, but it would have to pencil out for them.
Something to think about, at least.
But at least they'll talk about it.
Wow, that's
great.
great.
And so those are the kind of things you can go back to the company and go, okay, I can't, promise you this, but here's the conversations that are going on. Here's how much my community really would welcome you.
And oh, by the way, the whole rest of the state is needing to increase some school fundings across, so maybe there's other opportunities in other counties or districts.
So we'll have those conversations with you.
Cool.
You're not in it alone. We're not going to just bring you here and forget about you. We'll help you make those connections. We'll help with those conversations.
Oh, that's great.
And I think that's, one of the unique things that we can offer. If we're all working together, all of our, the schools and everybody working together, we can do this.
Yeah. It's 8:47 now. We're talking with Lynn Longan, director of the Mason County EDC. We want to make sure that we have some information out to the folks from OPP, Olympic Panel Products, right? There may be calling a wrong phone number.
Right. So the way that they came out in the news last week, the week before, was the EDC was involved. We are involved, but we're not where you need to go. You need to call the Transition Center, the WorkSource Transition Center. They'll hook you up and
they're located up kind of...
they're up behind McDonald's in there. So there's the WorkSource office, and then right beside them is the special office they opened. It's the Transition Center.
And just right across the street as well, the EDC offices in the Our Community Credit Union building. Very nice. Okay. So those are some big things going on, and very cool. That's a really unique way to try to connect a business with a potential opportunity.
Yeah.
With the cross-laminate timber. So what does that mean exactly? Cross-laminate timber. You make the boards that are...
It's basically, I keep saying it's a new technology, but it's not. It's kind of fairly new to the United States.
Okay.
So we haven't been using that, but Canada does it a lot. In Europe, they use CLT. It's a way to cross the boards and...
Oh, this is what's making those wooden build that are like 80 stories and stuff.
So
I remember that story.
In Portland, they're building a skyscraper made out of CLT.
I do remember that.
There's schools being made out of them.
Okay.
Right. And we have 2 pilot projects in Washington State, both in Eastern Washington, to do that.
Yeah.
But I wanted something here in Mason County, and I think we have the perfect place for it.
Yeah.
We have a good log basket. We have the old Mill 5 site, or up on the prairie, We have the suppliers here. So.
Yeah. Huh. Well, that's
and
wonderful.
They use the smaller products, so they would actually buy from our existing mills.
This sounds great.
So.
Well, good. That's a good thing to start thinking about, and hopefully, and if we can do anything else to facilitate and help, just let us know. You can find more about the Economic Development Council of Mason County at choosemason.com. Also call the office at 426-2276. Director Lynn Longan, thank you so much for coming on. Good to talk with you.